couldn't reach it.
So those aren't locked, is the problem, right?
Well, that's better.
It's not.
So that one's not locked.
Well, it is, but it's kind of it's wobbly.
I know the feeling.
That's the problem. So, but as long as you're right here,
Okay.
should be fine.
Okay.
Right, the mic.
Okay. Good. Okay. Do.
And my tea is right here.
Didn't drink it.
Wow.
I meant.
Good morning. This morning we have Reverend Nell Newton with us, so please welcome her. My name is Liz, and I'm your worship assistant this morning. First time, so be nice. And we're going to start with a music video. Is that right?
That's for the title.
There's a prelude song that we'll be doing. So we'll be.
Oh, Building Bridges, number 1023.
Yes,
Thank you.
23. This mic will shock me every time I walk up, no matter what I do. So this song is a round, but I'll wait for people to file in because I have Ivy helping me with the round today. But what we're going to do, it's 1023 in your teal hymnal. We'll sing it through once all together, and then after that, we'll split it into halves. So this side will start with me, and we'll sing Building Bridges Between Our Divisions. And then the other half, we'll follow on with Ivy, and you'll get it. We'll follow on. We'll sing that 2 times through, and then we'll all close together. So it'll sound a little something like this. All together for the first one. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Good. Okay, so now this side will start with me. We'll sing that first line one time, and then this side will follow Ivy, and she'll let you know when to start. Okay, ready? Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Thank you.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, UUCBV, or Brazos UU for short. My name is Liz Brackeen, and I'm substituting for Mary Coonley today. We are a welcoming congregation, which means that we celebrate all people across diversities of race, gender, sexual identity, age, ability, immigration status, and belief. We are also a congregation working for reproductive justice. So whoever you are, wherever you have come from, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here.
Welcome. If you have come weary or afraid, welcome. If you have come with an empty cup, welcome. If you have come disheartened or disconnected, welcome. For here we will gather to refresh your spirit, and here we will create the beloved community. Welcome. Bienvenido. Si vienes cansado y temeroso, bienvenido. Si vienes sin nada, bienvenido. Si vienes desanimado y desconectado, bienvenido. Porque aquí nos reunimos para renovar tu espíritu. Y aquí crearemos la comunidad amorosa. Bienvenido. And now let us light our chalice.
Our chalice lighter this morning is Roan. Please say our chalice lighting words with me. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. And now join me for our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
As Unitarian Universalists, we believe that there is a small spark of the divine in every person, in every being. So please take a moment to greet your neighbors and the other beings around you.
It's structured.
All right, y'all. I'm a storyteller, and so usually I want to come down there and tell you a story, but I found this video, and it was so wonderful, I wanted you to see it. In the video, there's a teacher talking, and she's from Hawaii, and so you might have to listen closely to her words to understand what she's saying, but they are such wise words and such beautiful images. I wanted you to enjoy them. So let's watch a video for our Time for All Ages.
What is a beloved community? In its simplest form, it refers to a community where you are beloved, a place where you can be yourself, thrive, and help others around you grow as well. Auntie Puanani Burgess is a Kupuna culture facilitator, storyteller, and the creator of a ceremony called Building a Beloved Community, which uses traditional oral Hawaiian storytelling to lay the foundations for beloved communities. For my senior project, I animated the story Boy with a Gift to share the story that everyone has a gift. Even if you feel like you don't have one, you do. I present Boy with a Gift. Enjoy.
Aloha, Michelle. You know, in the work that I do in building the beloved community, there's a process I use which involves asking people 3 stories to tell. First is to tell the story of all of your names. And when you tell that story, you tell the story of your people and your family. The second story is to tell the story of your community, where you come from, and how that makes you feel. The third is to tell the story of your gift. That often is the hardest story to tell because it requires you to dig deep and to really honor something that is inherent in you that oftentimes is not seen by others. I did this story with a group of 11th and 12th graders at Waianae High School, young women and young men. We sat in a circle and we went around the circle, and each one of them told their 3 stories, their name, their community, and their gift. Until we got to this one young guy, when it was his turn to tell his stories. He told the story of his name and his community, but when it came time to tell the story of his gift, he pushed back against me hard, and he looked at me straight in the eye and he said, "Miss, what kind of gift you think I get? I stay in this freaking special ed class. I get hard time read, and math hard for me. And why you make me shameful? Ask me the kind of question, what's your gift? If I had gift, you think I'd be here?" So he just shut up and he shut down. And I felt shame because I made him shame. So I shut up and I shut down. Fortunately, in every community, there are always places where you can see everybody you like see and everybody you know like see. And so in Waianae, one of those places for us is Tamora Store. So I'm in Tamora Store and I'm pushing my wagon down the aisle, and I see that boy and his back is faced toward me, and all I can think of is run. And so I start to back up, and I'm trying not to hit anything on the side and trying not to make any noise because I don't want him to turn around. I don't want him to yell at me, and I don't want him to make me shame again. So I'm backing up, and then he turns around, and he looks at me straight in the eye, and he says, "Auntie, I've been thinking about you, you know. I've been thinking, what my gift? That Auntie told me I can give, you know, so I better find him. So Auntie, I've been thinking about it, you know." So I looked up at him and I said, "So brother, what is your gift?" He said, "You know, I get hard time read and math hard for me. But Auntie, when I go in the ocean, I can call the fish, you know. And a fish, he come every time. Every time I can put food on my family table. And sometimes when I stay in the water, the shark, he come, you know, and he look at me. And I look at him and I tell him, "Uncle, I'm not going to take plenty fish. I'm going to take 1, 2 fish just for my family. All the rest, I leave for you." So the shark, he tell me, "Are you cool, brother?" And I tell him, "Uncle, you cool." And so the shark, he go his way, you know, Auntie, and I go my way. I look at that boy and I think, you are invisible to them. They don't know the quality of your mind and your heart and your knowledge, your Ike. And I think to myself, how do we make room for the gifts of all of our children? And how do we make these schools really be attentive to and begin to see and teach to the gifts of our children? But it begins with each one of us thinking about and knowing that we have gifts and having the patience to wait for the answer. So my question to you is, what do you bring to your community? What is your gift? Mahalo.
What is your gift? But first, what is your name? All of your names. What is your community? All of your communities. And what is your gift that you bring forward? What would it be like if everyone knew your gift and celebrated it? What would it be like if you knew that everyone has some gift? What might it be like in this world if our work was to find the gift in ourself and in one another? Okay, kiddos, if you can remember to ask those questions, ask them of yourselves and tell others. And in the meantime, let us sing our children to their classes.
We'll sing this little light of mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you. So many things happened this past week. There was the ongoing cruelty in the Twin Cities. There was the profound passing of our beloved Reverend Meg. There was a cold front that swept in on strong winds. It's because of all of this, I must ask you, how is your heart? Is it resting gently, comforted by the sunrise? Is it troubled like the river rushing over rocks? Or is it in a mundane, muddy middle? However your heart, you have brought it to a good place where your whole self is seen as holy. And at this time, I invite you to come and light a candle of joy or sorrow, or that complex blend of both that we sometimes feel. So even though I am a lifelong UU and a UU minister, I admit I sometimes struggle with all of our jargon and our acronyms. My heavens, we love acronyms, especially if we can somehow stuff two UUs into an otherwise ordinary word. And we use a lot of kind of churchy phrases that you just don't hear out in the rest of the world. You know, words like covenant, which we use a lot and in several different ways. And some of our phrases are very charming, like chalice circles. And some of them can be eye-rollingly earnest, like right relations. And I'll admit that sometimes I struggle with the phrase, beloved community, because it sounds so very lovely, it sounds so very cozy, so very amorphous, potentially weird. Beloved, it's usually only used in very intimate and deep relationships. Beloved, juxtaposed next to community. It sounds almost like an oxymoron, beloved community. It can also sound kind of like an in-group, an exclusive club where everybody is happy. And that's when the cynical part of me gets all riled up and that beloved community, yeah, right. Deep breath. Because for me, sometimes beloved community can feel like a loaded term. So I have to go and unpack it and find out why so many of us use it. Backing up a little bit, our religious tradition has the habit of borrowing from philosophers and ethicists because we are never content to simply accept any one source of wisdom. So we go looking for all of the wisdom, right? And it is in this way that we picked up the cool philosophy nugget, the concept of beloved community. I want you to know that that nugget has a very specific history and some very specific context. We just didn't make it up. We borrowed it, okay? It dates back to 1913. When the American philosopher and Harvard professor Josiah Royce published his book, The Problem with Christianity. Now, you see, unlike his friend William Joyce, Josiah Royce was very deeply rooted in Christianity. And he could, because he was within Christianity, he could see from within, and he held on to the hope that Christianity could be a source of good, a source of progress in the world. And this was his context because both William James and Josiah Royce were swimming in modernity, modernism, which carried this brave narrative that things would always get better when we use science and logic and reason. And Royce hoped that Christianity could also help humans do better. However, as the rest of the 20th century unspooled with wars and plagues, we came to see that even science and logic and reason and Christianity, people were still very people-y. And there were still a lot of ways that things can go very wrong. And this is why postmodernism can get very mired in irony. But back to Josiah Royce. He was, as a modernist, bucking the romantic and the modernist embrace of the heroic individualism. Okay? While other philosophers of his era were upholding this idealized individual as the pinnacle of human experience, Royce was looking at how community was essential to human improvement, how community was even primary over the individual. He was a maverick. Now, if part of you is kind of squirming and wanting to point out that communities can squash, communities can oppress individuals, this, I have to say, is a yes and situation. Yes, Royce believed that individuals were important and more astonishing things were more possible when the individuals were bound together in a common context, with a shared mission or vision. He offered up lovely terms for this, like terms like a community of grace or a community of expectation. And then he envisioned an idealized collection of such communities, and he called this vision the beloved community. Within all of these communities, the individual could expect to be listened to, cared about, included. And ultimately, within this larger community of concern, a greater love emerges, and the whole of human experience is uplifted. So what happened? What happened with this vision of beloved community? Well, Professor Royce died only a few years after introducing the term, and it just sort of fell by the wayside until the next person picked it up to run with it. And that was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He took the term, the beloved community, and he made it real. You see, Professor Royce was a white male teaching philosophy at Harvard. He enjoyed a high level of social privilege, and his thinking and his writings were very academic, theoretical. They're not tied to any specific task. Dr. King, on the other hand, took the concept of beloved community and he tied it to very real, very immediate practices and goals. His beloved community is tied to nonviolence and reconciliation, conflict resolution, and a belief that love and trust will triumph over violence and hatred. Dr. King took a castle in the air and he mapped out a blueprint to build a foundation to hold it up and make it real. It became so real that some of us might make the mistake of thinking that it is just over there, a place we can easily reach. And the words are tossed about, the phrase is used so frequently in UU congregations that we might mistakenly think that it applies to us more than others. So part of what I'm telling you here is that the beloved community is and is yet to be. And we are not alone entrusted with this dream. It doesn't simply refer to a state where everyone is polite and nice. The beloved community is not an afternoon cotillion with tea and cookies. Beloved community is pluralism. Remember how Josiah Royce envisioned that it was a community of communities? These communities will not all look and sound and act alike. Some communities might clap and stomp their feet. Some might sit in silence or dance in circles. They might not be like-minded, but they will be like-hearted. For my purposes, beloved community is both a verb and a noun. It is both the journey and the destination, journey towards. Even if we were somehow to attain a state of shared peace and justice for all, we could not sit back and congratulate ourselves for having arrived. Because as we journey and as we arrive, we must continuously interrogate what we think we mean when we talk about beloved community. It is not a fixed point. Because things change and new things emerge, the interrogations can be as simple as asking, does this feel like beloved community? I'll warn you. Beloved community might not feel like home, because there will be people within it who vex you, and people who you don't understand, and people who don't see you as the normal one at the center of everything. Because I know for you, I mean, you yourself, you are normal, and you are at the center of your universe, and that's good. That's as it should be. However, in the beloved community, you will be a part of the whole, and there is no one normal at the center. There is no one way of being at the center. The only thing at the center is love. Now, I know that can sound all flowery and fluffy, but this is hard. This requires courage. It requires curiosity, sacrifice, and deep patience. You know, the thing that people are so good at. And just in case we might get to thinking that beloved community somehow belongs to churches, and UU churches especially, let me share some words from my colleague, the Reverend Joanna Crawford. She says, beloved community is not held within our church walls. As soon as you begin to think like that, you have moved to the exact opposite of beloved community. Because in creating that definition of community, walls, you have necessarily created otherness. Reverend Crawford understands beloved community as both the now and the not yet of liberal theology. Living as if beloved community is now, we treat one another justly and kindly right now. And living as if beloved community is not yet, this is where our dissatisfaction with injustice and unkindness can urge us onward as a lived expression of our universalist theologies. I would add that there are no others in the beloved community, no us and them. It's just us. Okay. This is starting to feel kind of airy, kind of insubstantial. I need some practical, some applied, some field-tested philosophy right here. What am I to do? How am I to begin building the beloved community? Well, I will follow Auntie Buadani, who asks us to tell our 3 stories. What are all of my names? Where do I come from? And what gift do I carry? Telling these stories will help me stay mindful of my roots and my wings. I am Elizabeth, daughter of Jerry, daughter of Rachel, daughter of Nellie, daughter of Ruth. I am of southern Michigan and the central Texas hill country. I've drunk the water of Lake Michigan and I've drunk the water of the Frio River. My gift is that I love people and I tell them stories. I will treat others as if we are already there. And I will also pack snacks for the journey, for we will need to keep up our strength as we build. For you, my neighbors, My beloveds, I would encourage you to tell your 3 stories, including asking, what do you bring to this community that is and is yet to be? And once you know your gift, you can begin to build the beloved community first in your own heart, then in your own home, then in your own church, then in your neighborhood. Then you can join with others who are building it in their hearts and homes and churches and neighborhoods, and they will be doing it differently. But you can learn from them, even if you think they're doing it all wrong. If they are working towards liberation, you can learn from them. We need to recognize and include communities of people who look differently, worship differently, and express joy differently from our own. The beloved community is now, and it is not yet. But simply put, and to quote my colleague, the Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto, all of us need all of us to make it. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. Let us join our voices together and sing hymn number 298 in your gray hymnal, Wake Now My Senses. We'll sing verses 1, 3, and 5.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work towards a planet transformed by our care.
Now let an offering be taken to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us. A community of memory and of hope, for we are the keepers of the dream. This church shares the proceeds of the offering plate donation every week to help support important nonprofit organizations with which we work. The 4 groups we voted to support with this year's donations are Tiny Hope Village, Brazos Interfaith Immigration Network, the Pride Center, and Unlimited Potential. We vote on this every May at our congregational meeting. Please be as generous as you can.
All right, for the anthem today, we've got 1024 in the teal hymnal, please feel free to sing along as you'd like to. This is a new one for me, and I assume possibly for some of you as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to sing it 5 times through. You got to do when the Spirit says do, sing when the Spirit says sing, build, dance, and then we'll finally end it with do one more time. But what we're going to have Ivy play through the melody, and I'll play through the chords, and we'll sing the melody all together 1 time through, and then just follow me. There'll be words on the screen, and we'll get through it. And if I stop singing, y'all please continue singing, because there's a high likelihood I'm going to miss one of these chords, and you're going to see me do a face, and you will keep singing. Okay. All right, ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. It says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 Okay, has everyone got it? So we're going to go through that, and we're going to do, sing, build, dance. And one more time we'll do at the very end. All right, go for it, Ivy. Yeah. Got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to sing. Oh Lord, you got to sing when the Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing, 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 Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says build. You got to build when the Spirit says build. When the Spirit says build, you got to build. Oh Lord, you got to build when the Spirit says build. 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 Got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you got to dance. Oh Lord, you got to dance when the Spirit says dance. 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 You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. when the Spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 And thank you, Ivy, for accompanying me on piano. And thank you all.
Good job, everybody. We give thanks for these gifts we have given and for those we receive and for each other. May your generosity return to you tenfold. Now for a few announcements. To all of Meg's family, friends, congregants, and colleagues, you are sincerely invited to 2 celebrations of her amazing life. The first at her current home church here, Friday, February 27th at 6 p.m. The text is presided by Reverend Kaya and co-lead minister of the CLF, Aisha Hauser. And secondly, at First UU Church of Austin on Saturday, February 28th at 11 a.m., presided by Reverend Jake Morrill, where Reverend Meg was the minister emerita, and served for 11 years as their lead minister with their current lead minister, Reverend Chris Jimerson. Please come and celebrate and be together in love. Today, after coffee hour, there will be a listening circle in the sanctuary for support and just to hold space as we all navigate the huge loss of dear Reverend Meg. Just 2 more, I think. The Board of Trustees has called a special business meeting for February 1st at noon. If you are a voting member of the church, please check your email for more details. We need you to attend and vote. Childcare and lunch will be provided. Our worship team signups will occur during February with training on February 22nd after service. Want to be a worship assistant, a greeter, or someone who sets up coffee or helps clean up or tech? This is your time to sign up for 1 Sunday a month to help our church run smoothly. Ask Allison for any questions. And now we'll extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again.
Please sing with me if you choose. Remember the way of the wind, and breathe and blow. Remember the way of the fire, sparkle and glitter and glow. Remember the way of the water, and ebb and flow. Remember the way of the earth and grow. Go in peace.
Before you go in peace, one more announcement I forgot. There is no WWF today because of the sharing circle that'll be happening. Thanks, everybody.
I'm very glad you picked that song. I'm very glad that you were patient with us when we got it picked. Thank you so much. Oh my God.
You got it at the end.
You nailed it.
Everybody's smiling.
That's